The day was pretty uneventful until the object on the ground caught her eye. Wondering what the strange item was, she moved closer for a better look. It turned out to be a bird's egg, but surprisingly, as the woman held it in her hand, it was moving. In June, Susan Hickman uploaded a video to YouTube detailing how a new chapter in her life had started. In the captions accompanying the footage, she recounted how a year earlier she'd found something very precious on the floor. Naturally curious about the egg, Hickman picked it up to examine it closer, and then she received quite a surprise. Wherever the egg had come from, the chick inside had remarkably survived the journey. Suddenly, before Hickman's very eyes, a baby bird began to hatch from the little cracked egg. She subsequently found herself holding a tiny newborn that would be expecting his mother's attention. Alone, that is, except for the human staring down at him with a mixture of surprise and wonder. Hickman's first instinct was to return the baby to his nest, but she didn't know where he'd come from. Hickman's text commentary on the rescue video described her thought process. "I could not, would not just leave him there to die," she explained. So she decided the best thing to do was to give the chick a fighting chance and to take him home with her. Hickman doesn't mention any past experience raising baby birds, but nonetheless, her actions probably saved the hatchling. Indeed, she knew that it was essential to keep the baby warm. Yet despite her limited experience, Hickman did know people who were well practiced at rehabilitating wild birds. The news that they delivered wasn't good, however. Despite the odds, though, Hickman couldn't be dissuaded and was determined to try her best for the hatchling. What's more, when she woke up the following morning, the baby bird was still alive. Hickman quickly found out that raising a newborn bird was not easy. In the video, she explained how feeding was very frequent indeed. For the first 2 weeks of his life, Klinger had to be fed every 30 minutes from sunup to sundown, she wrote. Indeed, he had quite an appetite for a little hatchling, and Hickman said that he never missed a meal. Moreover, in time, under his foster mommy's care and attention, Klinger became bigger and fluffier. In fact, to Hickman's joy, he soon started to grow his feathers in. At that age, though, it would still have been almost impossible to know what species of bird Klinger is at a glance. Raising the bird must have been an amazing experience for Hickman to have. The more Klinger ate, the more he grew. Then one day, Klinger opened his eyes for the first time and looked at the woman he saw as his mommy. Hickman had looked after him well, but he would soon become self-dependent. The more feathers he grew, the more he looked like a full-grown bird. And in due course, he was eating on his own and even learning how to fly. When he was old enough to look after himself, Hickman was going to release Klinger into the wild. However, something that she wasn't initially aware of changed her plans. As a result, he identified with humans more than he did with other birds. That meant he was unable to learn the survival skills that he needed to live in the wild. Consequently, Klinger would most likely die if he was released. But it wasn't all bad news, as Hickman's video revealed. "Fortunately, I live in a state that does not prohibit keeping starlings as pets," she wrote, "so Klinger will always have a home with me." Klinger now spends his days being showered with love and attention by his foster mommy. Indeed, he has discovered a love of bathing in a little dish that Hickman places over the sink's drain. Klinger may not be able to return to the wild, but if Hickman hadn't rescued him, the starling would almost certainly have died. Now, however, he has a great life and a loving home with his adopted mommy.